28 counts of treason. This is what you wrote, Thomas. Please explain it to us, and what do we do with this information?
Well, Betsy, hopefully that information will be looked at by, what's his name? We can't remember because he doesn't do anything. Jeff Sessions? Oh, yeah. Maybe he'll look at that, and maybe he'll choose one, his favorite one, and he'll look at the 100 crimes involved in each one of those 28 treasonous conspiratorial actions by Jeff Sessions. He could take any one of them, and he could prosecute Comey.
Now, let me say that the articles that we're going to talk about are linked right down in the description box, and they are huge, and you need to open and read them. So continue on.
Well, Betsy, I've been saying for some time that we would write this stuff down because we have done a number of videos on it, and there are a number of videos that you can go to get the very small details. But let's just frame this. Recently, we had the release of the Mueller indictments of 13 unindictable Russians and 3 companies that he can't do anything about. That is a joke. But people would say, but wait, they're getting paid $10 million at least. That's what we know of. About $10 million a year. So, what do we got? $15 million involved, and all we get is some low-hanging fruit that they aren't even going to be able to grab, Mueller's investigation. George and Michael Flynn and, Carter Page, nothing will be done with. But essentially, there will be more lawsuits brought against the Christopher Steele dossier, or what I call the Carter Page, or the Page dossier, because all the people mentioned it are suing them. So what were they doing all this time, seeing that all it took was Mueller asking Facebook, hey, could you find us anybody who looks suspicious that might be connected to any Russian anywhere, as long as, they are a Russian, we don't care. And so Facebook, as Dude Zuckerberg told us, he searched and he found 470 accounts and $100,000 spent. It used to cost $100,000 for a one-page ad in certain newspapers. But anyway, and somehow these ads that were ran that Dude Zuckerberg found for Mueller, so Mueller didn't have to do any work, happened to be things that have nothing to do with Trump in most cases. And these people that are there are, that he's discovered the 13 Russian spies, that is a distraction to try to keep you from Comey's 28 treasonous crimes. Now, mind you, Mueller became part of those when he got involved, and the second that he took over the Mueller investigation, which was prompted, of course, by one of Comey's treasonous crimes, which is leaking his notes to his friend, which got to the New York Times, which then caused a special investigator to be asked in this particular case of firing Comey. Why would the president fire Comey? Oh, my goodness. Well, that's because he committed 28 acts of treason. And, of course, Trump knew that the entire time.
Before you go on, folks, when you read the article, you're going to see that there was an effort to overthrow Trump, actually an effort to overthrow the government and we the people. They called it by different names throughout this progression, right?
Yes.
So it first started out as, what was it called?
Well, there was the DNC cover story.
Okay. And then it escalated up, and then at some time it was called the small group, and then what was it? Then it transformed.
The Trump operation, and then the secret society, and the investigation to impeach.
Okay, but all of these names they can confuse you. And so in the article, I've highlighted those in bold so you can follow along. But actually, this is the same coup d'etat operation that has been in place early on to make sure that Hillary is in office and that the government is overthrown. Is that correct?
Yes, when it was the election, it was rigging the election and using the United States government as a weaponized tool against the Republican opponent. The Democratic President Obama directed this out of the White House through the U.S. Digital Service. We've already proven this in our articles and shown where Hillary actually paid for the template to win, and she paid through the government, the GSA, $750,000 multiple checks we have already shown people to show that Hillary not only had a $1.5 billion donation from Eric Schmidt, had all the algorithms in Google changed so that they would be beneficial to her, had Facebook completely slanted so that it would be towards her, allowed Russian ads, but these ads, who cares? Those ads are so incidental that it's ridiculous. And we are going to be doing another video here in a bit to explain the Global Engagement Center and the recent 13 indictments so that you'll understand that.
Well, that's news to me. Is that what we're doing next?
Yes, we're doing that soon. As soon as you and your team take care of that article that the Anonymous Patriot Conclave gave you, once that's up, we'll do an audio explaining that. But what we're explaining now is the 28 treasonous crimes of Comey. We had already done articles on the commission of Comey crimes and showed how Mueller was involved with them. Always. Those two are tied at the hip. They are bunk buddies. We said this from day one, before Mueller was ever appointed. We pointed out that Comey was following in Mueller's footsteps and that he was blowing it. And he blew it because he got too carried away, because he had too many irons in the fire. So the 28 treasonous acts, for instance, we didn't even include things like Mark Warner from the Senate Intelligence Committee contacting Christopher Steele in January of 2016, which means that is the proof that what we are saying is true. Comey united with Podesta and Hillary when they found out that they had been breached. They had to come up with a cover story, as we find out from WikiLeaks, because Uranium One and Hillary's connection to Russia.
Well, Kim.com says they weren't breached. It was just somebody putting a stick into the computer and downloading the files.
Yes, the memory stick would have to be used, plus the forensicator demonstrated that already by the speed at which the breach happened. So there's no doubt that what we've been pointing out, that Dmitry Alperovitch is the Russian spy that was used by Comey. He had already been arrested by the FBI for his Russian hacking, the largest hacking in U.S. history. Then he became an FBI asset, and then major cyber warfare officials from the top government agencies joined with him to create CrowdStrike. And then Obama used nothing but CrowdStrike in almost all government and corporate hacking and corporate cyber warfare problems in the last 5.5 years that he was in office. So he used a Russian spy. Comey used his Russian spy, Felix Sater, to attack the Russian team, attack the Trump team again and again, trying to get them to look as if they had Russian collusion. He took them, Felix Sater, took Trump team members to Moscow, promising to build a Trump Towers there, and in Georgia, and in the Crimea. Felix Sater set up the supposed sting on Michael Cohen, stating that he had written a proposal, given it to Michael Cohen, that would lift the sanctions on Russia. And Michael Cohen that didn't even happen. That's complete nonsense. Then Felix Sater arranged the meeting with the Russian lawyer Natalia Veselnitskaya and the Trump team. And who was it done with? Well, Comey had to go get the State Department to allow 3 of those Russian spies into the country under false pretenses so that they could be part of that meeting that was set up by Felix Sater at the Trump Towers as an entrapment.
Thomas, the purpose of today's YouTube is to introduce people to this 28 Counts of Treason article, and it is a useful information bomb. How can folks use this information that you've provided them?
Well, just as we know that there are certain people in the Congress and in the Senate who are reading everything that we do, listening to everything that we do, and they literally take things word for word from us, and they use it, and they have been major, we're not going to call them out, but they've been the major players here to uncover these things from congressional investigations. So you have to push the stuff up. As you always say, Betsy, you give the best advice on giving it out to other people who repackage it, who send it out, who rewrite it, who take a part of it, who send it up to people who have some authority, who create a lawsuit, whatever.
Right, and it can be simple things. If you have a Facebook, use it, weaponize it against them. Take this article and send it out to folks. You can take a copy of it, print it, and send it to your congressman, send it to the White House, send it to Jeff Sessions. Email it. There are so many things that you can do, and you never even have to leave your easy chair. But folks, we need to pile on. We need to let these goofballs up there in Washington know that they're not going to fool us with another fake moon landing or a 9/11 surprise. We're on to them, and we've got to keep the pressure on them to get Mueller to either get the heck out or investigate the very people that we've named in these 28 counts.
Well, Sessions has to wake up, and if he doesn't prosecute Comey after the 28 treasonous crimes, as I say, each one of them a very complex set of many crimes, then he is complicit with these crimes. He is complicit with the conspiracy, and he needs to be taken down too. And Mueller, let Mueller do what Mueller's going to do. It does not matter. Mueller is ineffectual. He has botched this from the beginning, exactly as Comey has botched all 28 of his treasonous conspiratorial crimes.